So the verdict is in. Groundlings, thank you. We think Greater Knapweed is the pretty purple wayside plant that I showed you the other day. A couple of other suggestions, including the beautifully named melancholy thistle. Thank you, Daphne, for that. That's I kind of want it to be a melancholy thistle, and that's a phrase I'm going to use in some other forum. But I don't think it was thistle, melancholy, or otherwise. I do think knapweed is the plant, and I'm glad to be able to identify it, and I should put it in my notebook so that I know next year. Good to be back with you. My son made it back from Avebury after the solstice and enjoyed his night there, although he impressively, as a proto-groundling, he walked from Marlborough to Avebury with his friends during the day, got somewhat lost, and it took him, I think, about 4 hours. It's not a short journey, and he encountered a bull in a field, and so he had all sorts of adventures on the longest day. But that's what you expect on the Wessex Downs. I've been thinking a lot about the place of the church in the British landscape. It's something I think about a lot anyway, but I'm reading up for a chapter I'm writing over the summer, and reading in preparation for that a classic work on the subject, Philip Morris's Churches in the Landscape. And there's something so fitting and normal and appropriate somehow, because they've been there for so long, about ancient churches in the landscape, that we can forget the oddness of the church. It's lost perhaps its ability to surprise us. But the further the church recedes, the meaning of the church perhaps recedes from our secular culture, churches again have an opportunity to be oddities, even if their physical presence, sometimes of great antiquity, lie under our nose in ways that are unremarkable. We see a Saxon font yards from our door, and we might not know it's that old, or even know it's there, or that the church is particularly ours to go into. And yet this extraordinary deep history is peculiar, Effie, in all kinds of ways. I'm just going to put Effie on the lead as we come here. We're about to go over the Kennet Avenue. Excuse me a sec, Effie. If any of you wants to volunteer to be the going to ground camera person, there we go, then let me know. Sorry. Nothing if not amateur. There we go. I was having coffee with Julian Cope the other couple of months ago, actually, who lives not far from here, one of my great musical heroes, and it was lovely to meet up with him and talk about these things. He was encouraging me as a bishop to be even weirder, the church to be more peculiar, to mine its ancient traditions, so that it is bizarre in many respects, and ought to arrest the attention, both architecturally, that's what we wear, what we say, themes that we talk about should be surprising to contemporary culture. And I take that on board as somebody who, generally speaking, seeks agreement and consensus, to stick out in ways that are unusual in the culture, is not something that comes naturally to me in some respects. Although, sorry, I'm just taking her off the leash again. The less mainstream the church becomes, it's harvest time, tractors everywhere, traffic rightly slowing down to barge pace behind them and the combines over the next 6 weeks. Although with the church, as I say, becoming less familiar, I quite enjoy its obscurity. It was the same in music, of course. You only ever want to like the bands that other people have maybe only just heard of, and to know them better sometimes than others. And coolness in music is always enhanced by relative obscurity of the artist, and I quite like the aspects of the growing obscurity of something like just Evensong, for example, which was so familiar, its language so embedded in the culture that it would have been entirely familiar, but now appears appealingly esoteric to the contemporary observer. So I'll let you know how I get on with those further reflections. I've got a lot of addresses to write today. I've got a day working at home because I'm taking the ordination retreat for Salisbury Cathedral next week. So from the West Kennet Avenue in Avebury, God bless you friends as you go to ground.